I want to start with this. When I was brand new to my career as a retail manager, one night I asked one of my associates named John to go face the cooler. If you've ever worked in retail, you know what facing the cooler means. I needed John to go turn the labels of the drinks forward so they were visually appealing to customers and shoppable. About an hour later, I decide, let me go check in on John just to see how the work is going. When I get to the cooler, I see John, and he's literally standing in front of the cooler, facing the cooler. It's like John and the cooler were in an intense therapy session. I go, John, my guy, what are you doing? He looks at me like I'm crazy and said, Deji, boss, you asked me to go face the cooler. I was mad at John because he wasn't doing what I asked him to do. And then I became really mad at myself when I realized John was doing exactly what I asked him to do. We had clarity, but we didn't have alignment. I was clear in what I said. John was clear in what he heard. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. Communication, it doesn't exist. It's a fugazi. It's fairy dust. Now, I know exactly how that sounds in the talk about communication. Sounds very weird, right? Let me explain. If you ask someone to come up stage and give a talk to 100 people right now and ask those 100 people what they heard, you're going to get 100 different interpretations, 100 different feelings, and 100 different action plans. Even if you simplified it to just a conversation with one person, let's call it your spouse or a coworker, and you ask them what they got, what they heard you say, it's never going to be intent for intent or word for word what you wanted them to take away. So here's the dirty truth, the quiet voice no one wants to say out loud. Whenever you are speaking to someone, you are actually miscommunicating. And that's because no two people have the same perspective. Miscommunication is the norm. It's our default setting. That experience with John taught me a lot of business and life lessons, one of which is a definition for communication that I have carried with me now for 15 years. If I am aligned and in lockstep with everyone in this room, that miscommunication is the norm. If we're locked in on that one, then communication has to be the ability to have a conversation, set expectation, and confirm understanding in a way that leaves absolutely zero ambiguity. Sit in that one for a moment and just think about that. Communication, the ability to convey your intentions, your intent, to transmit intention and understanding in a way that there is no ambiguity. Guys, that sounds like a Vulcan mind meld. Who in this metaverse do you know has that ability? No one. This is not the movie Arrival. Human language does not give us the ability to transmit our intentions and understanding into another person. We cannot do that. So let's talk about why miscommunication happens and what we can do about it. Miscommunication happens because human beings, you're going to laugh when you hear this, just love to ask stupid questions. A stupid question is any question that gives you the right answer to the wrong question. So let me give you some examples of some very stupid questions human beings ask in conversation. If I go to my team after giving them direction and I say, do you understand me? They're going to say yes. Do you see the problem here? They understood from their perspective what I said, but we have no certainty that it's what I wanted them to get. Here's another stupid question we ask. Are you clear on next steps? Yes. You see the problem? Your mental map and their mental map are miles apart on what next steps should be. So how do you bring this to life in day to day? Let me give you some examples. When someone asks you, can you get this done quickly? You should say, define quickly. Does quickly mean now? In an hour? What do you mean by quickly? When someone asks you, can you prioritize this? Define prioritize. Does prioritize mean work on just this? Or does that mean put this at the top of all the other things I got to get done today? What does prioritize mean? If your boss comes to you and say, I need this project to be urgent, I give you permission to look at your boss and say, boss, define urgent. Does urgent mean done by end of day? Or does urgent mean done before you leave for vacation? I can't Vulcan mind meld. This is a tricky one. So proceed with caution. If your spouse comes to you and says, we need to have a talk about our budget. I'm gonna give you some game right now. You say, honey, are we talking about define, we need to have a talk about our budget. Are we talking about our habits? Or are you just venting right now? Because those are two very different things. Here's one my wife, Sarah, likes to say to me a lot. This one's personal. Deji, I'm starving. Sarah, define starving, because this could get very weird very quickly. Does starving mean you haven't eaten all day? Or does starving mean you're just skipping a meal and just hungry right now? Like, what does this mean? Good questions are bridges built over a chasm of ambiguity. They allow you to Vulcan mind melt and see truly intent. It allows us to convey intent and understanding without confusion. It brings together alignment. I've been telling this story about John and the cooler for 15 years now. And every time I tell the story, it resonates with people because it's a human story. I still get phone calls today from people I've worked with in the past who say, Deji, I just had a face the cooler moment and I want to talk to you about it. And I go, yeah, I'm here for that. Let's talk. Communication is a core capability, both in life and in business. And the people who win at life and in business understand communication from this perspective. They understand that miscommunication is the norm, it's the default setting, and what we think is communication, it's a fugazi. It does not exist. On this day with John, the impact to my business was lost revenue. John's experience as a team member, I doubt he had fun just standing in front of the cooler having a therapy session with the cooler. What was the customer experience? What was the experience to John's peers who needed support from him and he wasn't there? Are you aware of the cost of miscommunication in your life and in your business? When I get off this stage, someone's probably going to turn to you and say, that was a great talk. I hope you look them in the eye and go, define great. Did he just change your life? Or were you just entertained for the 5 minutes? Thank you.